In this video, we're going to be talking about 4 agents that will define the new meta. Characters that are incredibly powerful now after the buffs, or characters that are priced to get even more powerful in the new meta. So we're going to break it all down. But many ask the question, is the Phantom or Vandal better? Well, our Blitz partnership will help you figure that out incredibly easy with global statistics of all win rates. In addition, you could break down your own weapon analytics and see what weapons you're dominating on and have a very high accuracy and win rate on, or what weapons are really falling short. You also have heavy statistics breaking down your last 20 matches, showing your agent and map win rates and exactly what you need to do and improve on. In addition, there's full guides that will showcase a specific lineup on any map, whether it's attack or defense. For instance, look at this top-down view of this map. We get to actually go in, pick Sova, and then it will show us every single shock dart and lineup that we could use. And in a fraction of a second, we click the one that we need. It will show us a very quick and seamless video, and we can easily use it in our games live. Basically, Blitz is the all-in-one package that is going to let you become a much better player, focus on what you need to improve, and dominate your games. Do yourself a favor and download the Blitz app down below for absolutely free. The first character that we gotta talk about is priced to become one of the best controllers in the new meta, and it's none other than Brimstone. Now, Viper is still gonna have her throne. She's very powerful on certain maps that Brimstone just simply can't match when you need to cross through open sightlines. But Brimstone is looking stronger and stronger in a world where the Astra nerfs might have been a lot or just too much to handle. Pro after pro has come out and stated that the Astra nerfs are too much for her to see substantial play, and while we can't validate those claims until we see ample pro play, the speculation is that Brimstone is fulfilling the same role and taking up a lot of the pick rate that Astra had previously as one of the quote-unquote dome smokers, as dubbed by Riot. Now, there's a lot to love about Brimstone, specifically the faster smokes coming down, slightly larger smokes that are a little bit taller, and specifically the fact that the stim beacon gives him and his team that speed boost can be phenomenal for trying to enter a site very quickly, bursting through a choke point, or rotating extra fast. Now remember, specifically for ranked play, when you're holding as Brimstone on defense, you still have to hold outside your smokes, preparing for enemies to try to push through. Of course, having a Phantom is going to be a little bit more optimal than a Vandal in this situation, being able to spray through your own smokes on defense and amplify your fire rate even more with the stim beacon. A big part of the meta is going to be baiting out that molly, making sure that the Brimstone doesn't have it before you try to execute onto point. And if you really want to differentiate yourself or set yourself apart from other Brimstones, learning molly lineups right now can be incredibly effective and is definitely something that I would suggest. Now, the next agent that we got to talk about that is going to define the new meta, a character that has already seen massive pick rate increase and is probably going to get better and better going forward, and it's Chamber. Chamber is absolutely phenomenal, and pros have shown us the power level of this character, capable of playing both sides of the court on defense. You could think of a map like Haven, for instance, where Chamber can easily teleport in between sites or hold down multiple sightlines by himself. You get so many peaks and repositions, and when we talk about his stalling capability as well with his alarm and the fact that he gets an op, which is phenomenal, especially on defense, the all-in-one package that is Chamber can really completely lock down a site, and you add a lot of versatility to your team. But typically the hard part that we see a lot in pro play is how players use Chamber on attack, because on defense he typically gets far more value, and it's obvious why that is. But on attack he definitely suffers, and that's not just a Chamber problem, that's just a Sentinel problem in general. They are more powerful inherently on defense than they are on attack. But we've seen situations where teams have gotten rolled and then they made a huge comeback when they flipped sides and they had their Chamber on defense, because that's how powerful this character is. Now for ranked though, you still have that incredibly powerful pistol on that first round. The capability of being able to buy that on a budget and actually carry that first round in a way that other characters can't is just phenomenal for ranked play. Chamber is one of the best characters for ranked play, period, and I could definitely see him dramatically increase in the pro meta even further, especially when we consider the fact that there will be a lot less Astra Viper filling up 2 spots at the same time, and there's a lot more room for other Sentinels or just other characters altogether. Now, the next character or the next agent that we have to talk about is another Sentinel. It's actually Killjoy. And Killjoy is really interesting because she saw a really big backseat in the meta. She was really part of the meta for a very long time. And then when the Astra Viper meta rose up, Killjoy took a big backseat with Astra taking a lot of her pick rate, Chamber taking a lot of her pick rate. But now we can see situations where Killjoy and Chamber are actually being played together. Now, this makes you a little bit stronger on the defense side, but with the added pressure of something like Brimstone, Jet, and a Sova, you could still engage pretty adequately, and you could have a pretty balanced team composition that just has a complete lockdown on the defensive side. With that being said, I expect it to be a little bit more map dependent. Killjoy is going to be a little bit more powerful on some maps, and especially when you can get value out of her Killjoy ultimate, it's going to be more team centric than Chamber is. Chamber might get more individual impact per round, but Killjoy allows for more complex strategies with the team. But in reality, because Astra took over that hole that was very stally, played double duty as a Sentinel, other Sentinels just get to see an uptick. And Killjoy is one of those ones that was actually being held down, while Chamber still already thrived, and he's probably going to increase, but not tremendously. Killjoy might increase quite a bit because she was one that was being directly held down from the previous meta, and it's looking like she is going to see more play than her brother or her counterpart in Cypher, especially because she is viable on a lot more maps, and she brings a lot of power to the table. Now, before we move on to the last agent that's going to define the new meta, I did want to briefly talk about an honorable mention that is a little bit of a wild card because he saw an increase in pick rate before in the previous meta as a fold to that meta, but this character is also just getting more powerful in general as people really uncover how powerful he is, and it's KO. KO is just getting better and better the more and more abilities are being introduced in the game, and the better people get, the more efficient people get with abilities, the better an effect that shuts that down becomes. I really do think in a potential fast meta or a faster meta now, because the meta is most likely going to speed up with Astra leaving. There's a lot less baiting out. There's a lot less utility to bait out. You don't have to bait out all these damn stars. You only have to bait out one molly or just very little utility at all. And having a character that can, you know, knife out, get info, stop enemies' abilities, and then y'all can rush and execute onto a site can be very effective and very powerful. And I do think that even though some of the powerful utility is out of the mix because Astra is going to be played less, KO can also work well in a situation where you want to execute quickly. So I'm very interested in how he's going to perform after these changes become played in pro play, but it's probably the big X card, the X factor, the one that's the hardest to predict, but potentially he could be really powerful. And over the long haul, I think he's going to be a character that is primed to get better and better. Now, the last character that's definitely going to define the new meta, and it's a pretty boring one, but I mean, if they didn't nerf this character, it's going to be still insane, and it's Jet. Jet was dominant before, and she's been dominant for a very long time. And the reality is she's not going anywhere. Jet is still phenomenal at creating space. She can utilize weapons that no one else can to the same extent, like the Operator. She is incredibly consistent and powerful round to round with a number of different weapons. And the fact that her knives are one of the best things that you can do to help your eco, clutch up rounds, and carry rounds all by itself means that Jet is just one of the best characters. And knowing how to play against Jets, thinking of ways to punish Jets and how you interact with Jets in ranked is going to be one of the biggest things that is going to define your ranked experience and just is going to dictate how much you climb. Crack Jets are going to be just one of the things that you're going to run into as you climb the ranks. It's pretty obvious, and I would definitely challenge you to really take notice about how Jets engage, how Jets fight. What are they doing right and wrong? In what ways are you shutting them down? In what ways are you getting destroyed by them? And try to learn every single game, because that's ultimately the way in which to actually combat this meta that has been the Jet meta and will be the Jet meta for a very long time until she gets touched. But definitely let me know down below what agents you think will define the meta. What characters do you think are going to be better in higher ranks, and what characters do you think are going to be better in lower ranks? Tell me why. Let me know down below. That's all I got for you today. Make sure you hydrate, and I'll see you next time.